Light snow falls outside the hunter's cabin to the east of Merewood some days ago. Fire crackles in the hearth.
Okay. Ava's sitting on the downstairs in what would be the dining hall of the cabin, and on the table in front of her, wrapped in a sheet, is Vithedrian. Lights started to trickle in through the windows, and she sort of sits, um, one leg, one knee bent up on the bench, and her arms sort of wrapped around it, and her chin resting on her knee.
Esmond slowly tiredly comes down the steps, having just woken up. Notes Ava at the table and quietly moves over to her side. Hey, so he hasn't moved, has he?
No, he's not gonna move. He's gone.
Yeah, well, given circumstances, it's not unfair to ask, I don't think, but yeah. How how you doing?
Um, I don't know. Um, just kind of um thinking, I guess, about all of it, delaying. Just kind of, I don't know. Um, keep having to make these decisions and not wanting to, and like I keep wanting for Tiridian or Gilgain, my mom, just like not even to tell me what to do, but just like, I mean, he's dead, and that was my choice. So,
Decision about what exactly? I mean, we either unceremoniously bury him or unceremoniously uh, build a pyre for him. Our options are kind of limited.
no. And then I was thinking about the fact that he died because of something that I chose. And those aren't the only options. In fact, like, so, alright, this mechanical work that you've done, she sort of like moves, undoes the sheet and reveals like his arm. He's pretty much as he was in life, but everything's been taken off of him for the most part. She's like, the arm, this leg, um, all the material, everything you've done for it is pretty basic. I mean, in the sense that anyone who's familiar with machines could probably replicate it. It's really similar to a lot of the um, automatons around town, but the genius of what you did is in here. She like touches on the shoulder. All the parts on the inside, the connecting pieces, the ones that made the machine and connected it to the man. And we can do without pretty much everything else, but this that you made, the materials, all of that, like, that is I'm sure you could do it again with time, but those are the important pieces. And getting them out, well, just because of the way they work, he's had 6 months, and so the body has, like, molded to it. That's not right. They've integrated, and they do that more and more as time passes. And so separating those really fragile pieces from the body would be like a reverse kind of surgery of putting them in. It would be really challenging, and there's no guarantee that I wouldn't damage them in the process. And even if I did get them off, all of the internal parts that are connected with the dried blood and anything inside of it, it would be really difficult to clean that out. You could either do it physically, which means we wouldn't get everything, or you could use chemicals. And if you did that again, the materials could be damaged and it wouldn't be any good. We need these parts in case we ever have to do something like this again, hopefully on a smaller scale and with better results. But by all conventional means, we just don't have time. I just we can't get these parts out.
Okay. We could just hack away at the bit of flesh that connects to the prosthetic, but to your point, it would take a while to clean up after if we decide to just tear it out. But we would have it with us. We clean it in time. Do you?
Even cleaning it in time, I mean, it would congeal, cake on there. The parts trying to clean it would be a pain, and again, using harsh chemicals in order to get it off would be potentially damaging to all of the sensitive materials that are inside. So, so there's a different choice, and it's just I already had to pick one time when he was unconscious what to do. And this is what he got. He's not even 60, and I got him 6 months of mobility. If I just went with basic prosthetics and sewed him up, could have been decades. And now he's dead. And now I have to decide again. We either get rid of the parts, we take time we don't have, or I do something that he would be completely against, at least while he was alive.
All right, putting aside for now your denouncement of your abilities based on an old man's untimely demise due to wild circumstances surrounding it. What what are you proposing exactly? What wouldn't he want you to do exactly? I'm not sure I'm following. I need you to clarify for me here.
The body can be decomposed at an accelerated rate, and so instead of congealing and becoming difficult to remove, it would essentially just become dirt, soil, I guess. And we could just run the parts under some gentle water and they would be cleaned after they removed. The arm and the leg would just be free, and we just clean the rest of the parts and they'd be like new, basically. But the magic to do that. She just looks at Esmond.
That sounds an awful lot like style of necromancy. Doc, how would you even know how to do that?
Honestly, I spent so much time just thinking about magic and practicing it during that time when I was trying not to think about anything else. And now it's just like math. It's like you learn enough of it, and then as you're using your imagination and being creative with it, you kind of stumble across different ways of using it. So you just kind of know. Some of it just seems really intuitive at this point. Has been for a while.
Huh. Okay, well, okay, how long would it take you to do?
It just takes a minute. You should probably go upstairs or something. Just come back for a bit. That way, if anyone asks, you won't have to lie about anything.
Esmond just quietly pulls a chair out from the table and sits beside her and gets comfy. I get that you don't want to do that. And so, at the very least, I can try and offer some modicum of support, because I'm not going to judge you for this.
Okay. Might want to hold your nose, she says, and she reads out. She speaks a word in Elven. It means at peace or deep rest. And as she touches on the foot of the corpse, it begins to very quickly sort of dissolve, collapse in on itself, and turning into what looks like loosed sediment, basically just like a bit of soil. It moves up the leg and sort of spreads throughout the body over a course of a minute. Everything's sort of aging and rapidly decaying over, falling in on itself, and gases sort of expending out from it. And then as it reaches the points of intersection where the opposite leg would be connected with the body and up to the shoulder, those parts just kind of sort of start to fall off a little bit, and then the leg just has the tendrils that would be inside the body sort of fall onto the heap of dirt, and the arm sort of rolls off to the side just by a little bit, again being disconnected from the small pieces. And after a minute, the only thing before him is a metal arm, a metal leg, and a bunch of soil.
Oh, Yep, you weren't kidding about the about the smell. Oh, okay, okay. So that's what necromancy looks like when it's not trying to eat me.
It can take different forms, I think. Come on, here, just help me carry the sheet outside, I guess.
Esmond will go and open the door first so that they have an easy clearing out, and walk to the opposite side of Ava on the table and lift up his corners of the sheets and help take those outside. As they're walking, he's just going to he's looking down at the pile of soil as they're walking, and as they reach wherever they're going. Um, I come from the tower, apparently.
What? When you talk, she sort of is pulled out of her thoughts, is looking down at this and watching the sheet, and then occasionally glancing behind her as she walks backwards towards a patch of clearing on a small hill, where a shovel sits by a small patch of dirt that has been dug out, which is their ultimate destination. What? What? What do you mean you come from the tower?
Yeah. Only you and Array and O are gonna know this at this stage, and I prefer to keep it that way. And it just seemed only fair to share with you. But you know, according to my mom, she and Dad found me at the tower, tower of the Chronomancer. I suspect that my family, whatever family I had, was kidnapped there, and whatever happened all those years ago when my family escaped, they just grabbed me, took me with them, and apparently anyone that comes from the tower, or at least anyone that knows about it, according to my mom, would have been in danger had the verdict found out. So it's kind of been on a very need-to-know basis up till now. But you've had your own burden, so I figured I'd share some of mine.
Well, I don't know much to say, I guess. Thanks. It's nice to be trusted like that, but I guess looking down at the soil, she says, you don't have to worry about anyone learning your secret. And at this point, unless we run into another verdict, I guess. Here. Hole's right over here.
As they're walking, Esmond will kind of perk up. Yeah, I know. I fully intend for us to ignore the tower for as long as possible, if not entirely, but I still have ideas of how to broach the subject once everyone finds out eventually, because things are always just found out in this group after a certain amount of time. I mainly blame Owen Peach for that one, but you should probably consider how to.
Ava, roll an intelligence check, just straight intelligence. Actually, or history.
All right, let's see. Intelligence. Do I leave that? You know what? I don't like being dumb. I don't want to be that dumb. I'm gonna try. I'll use a constellation point to give it another shot to see if I'm at least less dumb. Yeah, less dumb.
Yeah, you didn't pay much attention to it at the time. It didn't seem like a big deal, but you remember the maps that Vendrian had on the table in the mayor's house in Shepherd's End. And you remember depicted on that map near the tower, the stone tower in the east, there was a small village kind of in the shadow of that tower. There wasn't a name marked on the map, but it was there.
Well, when we get done, we can go to the tower if you want to. I won't tell anyone about it. I don't think anyone will care, though. I mean, I think that, nobody cares where you came from. We all know who you are. We've known you, like, your whole life, so it doesn't matter if you're from a tower. Hey, there is a village near there, I think. Like, I'm thinking about the maps. She, like, gets near the hole and sort of stops, and sort of sets it down for a second before throwing the dirt over. I don't remember the name of it, but it's possible when we get done here on our way back, we could go by there, and if they were having trouble, maybe we could try to help whoever was there, like we did some of the people at this town. And then, you know, um, we could all check out the tower together, and you could get answers and stuff.
I'm just I'll stop you right there for now. Maybe I don't know if I want to know anything. That's yeah. I'm just gonna leave it at that for now. In the meantime, we should probably figure out how best to either continue to hide this secret from everybody, or how best to let them all know eventually. Because given our situation regarding all the undead, this might be something that occurs at another point. It might just worth considering, maybe.
It's not that I don't want to tell people, because I think they'd think anything bad, just like the tower. It's just that, it's like I told you, and you should have left the room, because now you know. And if you encounter another verdict, maybe it won't be just me who's guilty of whatever, you know? So I just don't want to tell them for that reason. There's no reason to put people in, I don't know, danger. I don't know what he would have done, but I don't know. I'll think about it. Here, let's finish this up. She takes the sheet and begins to shuffle into the small hole that's been dug out of the snow, the remains of the verdict.
Esmond will assist and then help to cover the hole with more snow once we've done
Oh,
that.
no, wait, hold on. And she stops him from doing this now. I know he would have hated this, but I try to rationalize it by saying, at least if a necromancer comes across him, you can't bring him back. But anyway, I asked him a while back, just while we were traveling, what his favorite flower was. She takes out her staff. She goes, he said it was a sunflower. I don't know how well they'll handle the cold, or she cast a spell with a wand, and a single sunflower sort of sprouts from the soil of Vithedrian. She says, but, I don't know how long it'll last, given the cold or the environment, but at least it's got good soil.
Given his hard-ass nature, I imagine it would last for quite a while.
Yeah, hope he likes it. Come on, let's go, and you can help me figure out how to tell or not tell. And, maybe we'll talk more about your chrono... What was it?
I don't know. Chronomancer, I think, is what Vithedrian called it. I try not to think about it. It's a whole. It's a whole thing. I'd rather not worry about it right now. Let's just. I just don't want to worry about it right now. For the record, if we come across another verdict and they question me about necromancy, I'm so tired of everything right now. Fuck them. Just. If this is what necromancy can do for us against everything else, okay. I'm fine with that.
I'll think about it. Hey, it's a cool name, by the way. Chronomancy?
It's a little on the nose. Also, absolutely ridiculous, honestly.
In Muirwood, gentle snow comes down in the square of the Travelers District. The square is littered with corpses of the undead. Seifert, as you look out from the shelter of the small ruin to an ancient religion long forgotten, you see Ava and Esmond talking together privately out in the distance. The interior of the small sanctuary is faded but cared for, as though the town itself maybe was built up around something that's been abandoned for quite a long time, but not forgotten in spirit, but not neglected by the hands. You can see that people have been taking care of the stones, and there's still the faintest remnant of a figure on the rear wall, a broad-shouldered woman holding a big hammer. You can barely make out archaic script to the goddess of Brunhilde. You probably we get a scene from everybody except for Esmond and Ava, of sort of how you guys are taking this moment to rest.
Could you remind us what sort of building we're in? Because the scene between Esmond and Ava was like previously a few days before.
Yes, you are in the stone ruins in the middle of town, southern side of the Travelers District. You can see the place that you just fought all the zombies.
Okay, thank you.
Beth is in the corner, slumped against the wall. There are many crumbs and empty packets of paper and waxed cloth scattered about her, crumbs across her chest and her stomach, and she's slumped and she is snoring soundly as she takes a nap after ingesting quite a large snack. Her wineskin is in her hand.
Peaches. Teddy! I'm so sorry. I don't know why my kid just busted into my room to use the bathroom. So sorry, real life interruption.
Excellent timing, right when you're about to talk.
Oh my god.
I'm just imagining Peach pulling out a sweet little teddy bear to snuggle with after a zombie battle.
Okay, so the scene that I had in mind. Peach is sort of gently moving through the rubble. Shut the door, Teddy. Peach is gently moving through the rubble, sort of turning over little bits of broken up cobblestone with the toe of her slipper. And she's sort of muttering to herself, yeah, damn it. I could have sworn. I don't even think I used it this time. She's pushing through the debris, and every now and then she crouches down and turns over a stone in her hand. But then, though she pockets 2 or 3 of them when they're the right shape or size, she continues to come up disappointed.
Casey makes his way over to Araya, kind of a half grin on his face. He's got soot and ash all over his skin more than normal. His clothes are kind of singed around the edges, loosely fitted. And he sits down on one of the rocks and kicks his feet up and throws his hands back. So, sounds like things went well down in the well. Well, yeah. I knew you could take care of it.
Your faith in me means you had some faith in the maiden that I followed, that things would be handled.
I mean, I didn't see her climbing triumphantly out of that well.
Triumphantly would be an over-exaggeration.
It's pretty good up top, too. Should have seen it.
I heard it. It sounded it sounded very, very difficult, actually.
No, everyone's excellent. They were on their game.
No, it was, well, I suppose there's time for the dark side of whatever was plaguing the town later, but now I know how Sal feels. And she sort of gestures to her. Off to the side, she's wearing maybe a change of robe, but like pile of sodden and befouled robes.
The moment that Araya says that, Casey, there's a strange sensation unfamiliar to you in the back of your mind. You hear the sound of cracking glass as Araya mentions Salinger. You know who Salinger is. You grew up together. But you also remember the journey from town coming to Muirwood, him in the battle just months ago. But you also remember when the blue pudding struck him in the chest, the burst, and the grief of a lost friend.
Casey kind of looks closely at Araya. Kind of almost looks through her, right through her chest. He's like, I mean, you know how Salinger feels.
Yeah, just getting all of this terrible undead flesh on your clothes. It's...
Araya, as you hesitate there for a moment, you too remember Salinger, the house that he and his parents lived in Shepherd's End, and at the same time you remember the old couple who lived in that house who never had children.
Wait. No, maybe that's wrong.
I mean, no, you kind of are covered in rotten.
Yeah,
smell.
it's... Sal would have hated this, don't you think?
I'm sure he does. And he kind of points, because Salinger's here with us, right?
Yeah, you turn back towards the ruins where Beth and Salinger were looking at the carvings on the interior of the temple, and it's just Kabeth.
Araya.
Yeah.
Did you learn some new magic down there? Are you doing something? Are you messing with me?
What? No, I'm not. No, you came to me. I was meditating, I was really trying to put into order the things that I saw. Why? What do you mean?
I mean, you mentioned Salinger.
Yeah. Wait. Who?
Yeah, our friend, he's like this tall and can throw you pretty high, right?
Looking back, you do remember him. You know who Casey's talking about. He was just with you here a moment ago. But also,
Yeah.
who is that?
Wait. I I think I just need sleep, maybe? It was a really strange experience, and I went into the memories of the dead
hang on.
guy, the victim of necromancy. Maybe that's what's this.
Casey kind of paces back and then forth and walks swiftly over to a place next to Araya and reaches into the air and pulls a dagger out of the air and turns to
What?
Araya. Give me
So
your
what
hand.
is... Wait, no, what? I mean,
No, something's going on.
okay.
And he cuts her hand. with the
Oh!
dagger.
I mean, I went through the whole battle without getting hit even once, and now... Casey, well, why? It's like blood
And then he
sacrifice?
holds his hand up and cuts it as
Wait, what?
he kind of watches as the blood pools in his hand and starts to trickle down his arm.
Do you want me to mend that for you? Or do we need it for something?
Shh. He looks around. Something's not right.
I think we should just sleep on it. We've been through a lot and we're safe, and we don't know for how long.
Who else is here with us?
As an Ava, Gabath, Peach, Cyfred, Shalati. The verdict passed away, but I mean, he's with us in spirit. Oh, and don't forget, Zephyr.
Yeah, Zephyrs.
Zephyrus isn't here. Zephyrus isn't here.
God damn it. Oh yeah, we got the Rubit.
Is that all, though?
No, but I mean,
No,
that's not right.
Salinger was here with us.
No, but Salinger?
I gotta go find it. Something's going on. Keep your guard up.
Guard up at how? How can I guard against something I don't... What do you feel? What do you sense? What do you... Talk to me.
I don't... Someone's like in her head. Yeah, you know, when you're talking to someone and your head gets all foggy and you can't speak straight and you stumble over your words and stuff. It's kind of like that, but bad.
So,
Uh,
how can I... So we need... What are we looking for? Are we looking for a person who's in our...
Salinger. The big guy, well-dressed, voice like molasses.
Yeah. No, yeah, I just... Okay. Where did we see a Salinger last?
He points back over towards Gabath. Gabath! And run.
I'm gonna... Are you still looking at the runes? Pretend that you...
Oh, I was napping.
All right.
Casey would rush over and bring a rail.
All right.
Beth like wakes up with a startle and she's like, "Oh, is it time to go? All right, is it danger? Is it
Salinger!
Do you remember him?
What about him?
Does it mean anything to you?
Yeah,
You remember Salinger. He was just here. But you also remember when you were around 10, his parents got on that ship. Never came back to Shepherd's End.
yeah, he was. I must have. We were sitting and talking and eating, and then I dozed off. But also, no, that doesn't seem right. Wait, where is he? Wait, yeah, Salazar. Where's Peach?
Peach will know where he is. Peach!
I'm gonna look. She's gonna like feel in the air. I don't even think there is such a person as Salinger.
Oh, who did I eat snacks with then?
Well, you eat snacks for two.
no, but like, look, and she starts pointing to the armrest. This was in my pocket, and then this is from Peach, and then this is also from me, and this one is also from me, and then this one was from Sal. Yeah, yeah. This was from. He had it wrapped in a. See, it's like wrapped in a piece of handkerchief.
Yeah, from Sal.
Okay, but are there any of
died
his
before we
things
left Shepherd's.
here?
Looking around the room, you don't see any of his belongings.
No, see, look at the backpacks. There's just our backpacks. There's no one else.
Can I look around the building? Is there anything weird about this building? Runes carved into the walls or anything like that that would.
I think we just need rest.
It's an old,
We'll be clearer in the morning. I think you're overreacting. I don't feel. Well, no, I feel. You're right. I feel weird. I just don't think. I don't think. Are you sure it's not just in our, like, maybe a character in one of your shadow plays?
No, that's where I got the knife idea. It didn't work, so something else is going on. We need to gather everyone up.
But I haven't. I'm really. Are you sure? Oh, they all need rest. It wasn't easy.
No time to rest. We gotta find Salinger, or whoever's been traveling with us that looked like Salinger but isn't Salinger.
By this time, Ava and Esmond are maybe making their way back to the group.
It's Doc. In case you'll rush it. As something weird is going on.
I think Casey needs to sleep. He's imagining one of his shadow play characters is real.
No. He is real, and he was with us, and now he's not.
No, it's just us here, and we need rest.
All right, let's take it from the top. All right, okay. Oh, what's happening exactly?
Salinger. Do you remember him?
Yeah, of course you remember Salinger. He was literally just here. But also, you know that he stayed behind in Shepherd's End. Didn't come with you to Marewood.
Yeah, he was just with us in the battle, and huh.
Only he never left Shepherd's End. He got shot in the chest by a jelly and died.
No. Okay, so who is the Salinger? Who was he? Did he grow up with you all?
He didn't die. No, he was here, but he also he stayed behind.
Because he was dead.
No, he wasn't dead. He was here with us in the battle just now, but he also.
So, like, I felt kind of, but then I don't actually think that this is a person. I think this is maybe the name of the shadow. No, your shadow's got a different name.
No, it's not Mose. This isn't his style of prank. Something else that has been traveling with us. It's not what it seems.
Okay, hold tight. Everyone, gather around. I know we're all tired, but we need to have a quick talk right now. Something's wrong, I think. Esmond's just calling out to everybody to gather around them.
Cyfred from her corner of the ruins is in full winter, practically white head to toe, with tufts of fur around her neck, almost like an Elizabethan collar. And she had been quietly rewrapping her arm wraps. as the commotion was building. And by the time Esmond actually calls everyone over, she already is alerted and has made her way over. What's your problem?
Do you know who Salinger is?
Yeah, obviously I know who Salinger is.
No, they're making it up. It's why are you so weird?
What do you mean they're making it up?
Yeah, Seyfried, you remember Salinger. How could someone not really remember Salinger? It's just here. But also he wasn't. Seyfried, why isn't Salinger with you?
Seyfried's eyes flash and her ears immediately shoot up and she goes extremely quiet instantaneously. Clearly alarmed, alert written all over her face. And she, out of instinct, deep in her Fey bloodline, she makes a split-second decision to go with her first thought, not her further thought. And then she kind of seems like she comes back too. She looks up and she punches Casey in the chest.
Okay, now what?
By this point, Peach has stirred, and she kind of comes over to the group. What all's going on? Why are we yelling and punching?
Casey is like, leans up. We already tried that, and he takes his hand off of his chest, and there's basically a blood handprint where he was holding his chest.
Wait, this was for that?
Well, yeah, clearly we're in some sort of
Dream
hallucination or something. And I thought, I didn't want to punch myself, and I thought Casey was the next best option. So,
let me help. I pinch him.
We already determined it doesn't.
Ava, as you hear Peach kind of come to the group and you see the punch against Casey's chest and then the pinch, you can't help but glance upward and see the cracks that run through the sky. You see one more.
Hello?
Shalati.
Okay.
Hear you.
Yeah, it came through.
Casey flinches just briefly before.
I think Shalate has been outside for most of this, probably just sitting on a stone and keeping watch, while slowly cleaning her weapons. And she was a little bit reluctant to leave her post, but only comes in basically in time to see this furor of people slapping and pinching each other. And her brow furrows. What is going on?
They're all punching each other.
Something's cast a spell on us.
Shalati, where's Salinger?
Did I see him pass by anywhere? What do I remember about him?
Yeah, Salinger was just here. But you also remember the difficult day when Ava's father told the village of Shepherd's End that the young boy had passed away.
He was just... Wait. And then she exchanges a look with her spectral twin. And, who seems as confused as her. And then she looks down at the ground and at the snow outside to see if she can see his footprints or Poppy's footprints.
Ground. And they should be there. No, you don't see them.
Where's Poppy? Why are there no... But she wouldn't have... if she wasn't there, if Salinger was dead, then she wouldn't be here, so that... Wait.
Okay, no, so it's the same with you. Everyone here has multiple different truths about Salinger. We all know that he is here, but we also know that he isn't what or can't be here. Peach, what do you recall of Sal?
DM, what do I recall of Sal?
Oh, you remember him. Everything that you should remember of him. Except that you also don't know who they're talking about. Never met anyone from Salinger.
There's something going on here, something not good. I can remember it equally as if I've known him and as if I've never met him. He's here. He's our. We all remember Sal. We all remember him being here a moment ago. That's the thing we've all got in common. So that's got to be the.
Did he fall into another space? Like Cypherin and Ava did? But that we remember them just fine when that happened.
Yeah.
And that was just a portal, like the other tears that we. Well, once it was created, it was just a tear, like the other ones that we'd seen. But is there one here?
Ava sort of continues to look up at the sky and sort of like just starts to point upwards at the giant cracks running all through the sky.
But he wasn't that tall. Or, well, was he?
Yeah, what does that have to do with anything? Where's Sal? If he wandered through one of those rips or something, it should be nearby. Let's just look.
I think maybe those are small rifts and the ones up there are bigger. Maybe that's like.
Well then, why are the rest of us here?
And why do we all have different memories? It sounds like.
And our Cypher goes quiet again, and is like counting on her fingers the people that she can remember.
I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. Someone's hexing us.
What if it's...
They've got to be close. Casey kind of starts rushing around the ruins, checking
Well, what if it's
corners and sections for passageways.
I'm going to check out the temple. You know, there's...
Esmond is going to reach into his satchel and pull out some files, mixing them together before dabbing them onto a dirty cloth from his bag, and he wipes those on the lenses of his glasses. I'm casting Detect Magic at first level.
Salati looks down at her hands and seeing the bracelet there on her wrist is suddenly reminded. Who got the gift from Salinger this naming day? Do you still have it?
I have a gift. It wasn't from the naming day.
Oh. What? Wait. What was the occasion when we all gave each other gifts? Like we had like a Secret Santa thing.
As you say that, actually, Esmond reaches into his satchel and is going to find. Oh God, what the fuck was it called?
Rude.
So you really cared for this thing?
No, it's.
What was this goddamn piece of garbage?
The Willful Wondrous Wayfinder wrench. That's why.
I gave Sal a kerchief to tie around his neck with a whole book on how to tie it.
I had been telling Casey that Sal would have hated getting into as big of a mess right before I realized that there wasn't any kid named Sal.
Yeah, Esmond, as you pull out the wrench, it's right there. It's right there. That's proof. That's proof that Sal was real. And you remember when your mother gave it to you.
This is what I got from Sal for the naming day. But it's not. My mom gave it to me. I'm starting to get a headache. I cast Detect Magic. Is it doing anything? Am I seeing anything surrounding us?
Yeah. So, meanwhile, as you look around, all the things that you would expect to gleam with auras of magic certainly do. But if you're looking for something maybe strange or out of place, there's nothing.
What happens
Nothing there.
if I take your wrenches? All right, I know Sal gave this to you as a gift. Is it gonna create the? Here, hand it over, and she'll hold out her hand.
Esmond hands it over, but just kind of casually as he's like walking around, like getting up in everyone's face, like looking them over and like looking over the rest of the sanctum that they're in.
And Peach will kind of gently move the wrench in her hand, going and saying aloud to herself, "I know Salinger gave this to Esmond."
Yeah, nothing changes. You know that Salinger got that wrench from Esmond. It's also, you also don't know where he got that wrench.
Fuck.
Why are we holding these two ideas in our heads at the same time? Because I kind of can feel both, but
No, one of them it's in common. There's one that's true that we all have. Because I didn't. Ez, where'd you get this wrench from?
I got it from Sal, but my mom gave it to me.
All right, so I remember you getting it from Sal, but I also don't remember that happening. So if you remember something different, maybe I just don't remember your mom doing it.
The problem is, we are all remembering truths about Salinger. We all have, as you said, the one common truth. The one memory that we have is that Salinger is here with us. He was fighting the undead not 10 minutes ago with us. And then we all also have a second truth, a second memory, and none of them match up with one another.
Yeah, yours is definitely wrong. Salinger was not your mom.
I'm glad we clarified that one up at least.
Everyone roll either nature or investigation, your choice.
hoping for some privilege.
Oh, wait. I gotta take that off. I'm not blessed anymore.
Hey, I did a
not-
good roll.
Hey, good job, Esmond, with your plus fucking 17.
What were the two options?
Nature or investigation.
I have a +5. Damn it.
Okay, well, we'll give it to Esmond, I think. Esmond, as everyone's talking, thinking, you realize, wait, the sun should have set by now.
Esmond pulls out his two pocket watches, one that tracks the old time and one that he's been readjusting to track the new time.
What's the?
I had one.
Difference?
I had one pocket watch that's set to keep track of when the sun would rise and set before it got wonky, and then I have a second pocket watch that I've been adjusting as the new.
Okay. Yeah, as you look at the new one, the one that's supposed to track the new duration of the day, the sun should be setting right about now. But as you look, looks like there's still an hour left before the sun will set.
What is it? Is
The sun. The sun.
Sorry, 2 hours. 2 hours.
The sun should have set by now, but it's still 2 hours ish before it actually physically does. But it's scheduled to set here soon, if not already.
Are these ruins like enclosed, like we're inside a building?
One side is enclosed, the other side's completely open.
I think Charlotte actually would, while everyone else is doing this, she actually would have been walking outside and making circles around the building.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, Casey's gonna climb up, clamber up to the high point of the open side and look out onto the city they were just in to see if it looks the same or different or what's going on.
And if there's a difference, you can't quite tell. There are still plumes of dust rising where buildings had collapsed. There's still a shear that runs right through the middle of the town, north and south. The only thing that's so distinctly different is whatever's happened to the sky.
Being outside from the temple hasn't changed anything, right?
No.
Salty comes treading back and says, if... So we've had other places leak into our place, our world. Is there any reason to think the same thing can't happen with other times?
Esmond's eyes go wide at the very notion of that, and he just finds a bench and sits down and starts scribbling notes, trying to contemplate that very prospect. He doesn't say anything. You just see him sit down, just start calculating.
Slutty watches him for a minute and then leads over to Ava and is like, sotto voce is like, does that mean I made a good point?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Other times, does that mean that in some versions, Salinger is dead? Because in my half memory, I just don't know this man.
I mean, so running with the time idea, think of every time that you've been in a dangerous situation or close to death. It's honestly amazing that we haven't died already. So to think that in other timelines or whatever that we would survive kind of seems preposterous.
So it would be. So these are different timelines, different stories spun off of decision points.
That's one idea.
DM, the cracks in the sky, do they come from do they converge on a single point like branches on a tree sort of coming out, or are they all parallel and separate from each other?
As you look, they do converge in the north, where the distant silhouette of a tower reaches into the sky.
Eva sort of like nods towards Cyfred and points this out and says, well, maybe that would make sense if we all remember that and all these other cracks are the other worlds or times or whatever.
Esmond, it's you. Well, sorry, Charlotte, say what you're going to say first.
As this is being said, Charlotte's head snaps up, and she looks suddenly as if she's been electrified, her golden eyes going wide, and there's just... It's like all the fatigue and the reserve that normally is part of her air just washes away in a tide of energy, and she turns her eyes toward Ava and then toward the north wide, and then looks at Istvan, who seems to have just gone still in this moment of Shalati hearing this.
Esmond, as you sit urgently scribbling your notes, trying to find a solution, trying to make sense of the math is so complicated. How could you make sense of it? How could you balance that equation? You see where the undead giant had burst through the library, sending books scattering, some of the covers torn away, some of the pages ripped out. You see the pages of different stories blown by the wind, mixing together in the snow in front of you.
I scramble to go and catch those.
Snatch a few up off the ground. And they're just paper.
Hey, paper, though. Casey's standing on top one of the derelict pillars of stone on the open side of the building. The cold wind's kind of blowing through his clothes. And he's looking out over the horizon, and he turns back to everyone with the magma lines on his skin kind of bright and says, "So, you all are from another timeline?"
No, the one where we share a memory together is the one that we're all talking to each other on right now. And somehow, I guess, parts of the other ones we're existing in. So maybe we're diverging. Maybe as those cracks get wider, we'll stop being close and on the same time world. I don't know.
Wait, but isn't it the opposite? Because by default, you only have one memory, right? And so if we're all having at least two, that's not divergence, that's convergence, right?
We started with one, though, right?
Exactly. I'm saying that two is more than one. By default, we only have one. And so oh my God, I should have paid more attention. No, I mean like, like, I don't know, like if they're like,
you're saying there's like, more than one Casey out there?
Well, but that's the thought, right? Like there's the Salinger who died, the Salinger who never existed, the Salinger who was right here with us. That's like 3 different Salingers, right? But like,
wait, so why is it only Salinger? And if we don't all have the same other memories of Salinger, right? Because I remember him dying as a child.
And I would have remembered if Salinger had died.
So is it just the memory of him?
Wait,
or are all these other versions of him here in this world now too? If that, then where did our Salinger go?
Well, yeah.
Maybe if we go towards the tower where they converge, and as we go closer to that one, the one we all know to be true will grow stronger. And maybe if we moved away from the tower, it would get weaker.
Or like a lightning rod. All of the Salingers from all of the different times or whatever got like sucked into one place. Because why else would he not be here? Our Salinger here.
Yeah.
Esmond has, during this whole conversation, Esmond has run off frantically into the library. DM, I'm going to start looking for books on, extraplanar travel, manipulation, and not time travel, but theories of time dilation and manipulation as well, I guess.
Roll for Dewey Decimal System.
I'm gonna follow Ez to the ruins of the library since they got smashed by a giant.
Just while they're running off, Peach had a response to what Cypher was saying. So she would say, well, but if everybody's converging, if all these different versions of Salinger are coming together like a lightning rod, then where is he? We've all got these diverse memories of him, but there's no lightning rod, there's no Salinger, there's no version of him that I see at all. We just have the different memories. There's no body.
Well, but there's Seifert points up. Ava had pointed out the cracks and stuff, right? Like called attention to them. The cracks in the sky converge in one area away from where we are. But Seifert points up at these sort of like converging cracks that seem to converge over at a distant tower. I don't know, like, remember that experiment as kids where there was like, where we were being showed static electricity, right? And it looks like a lot of different hairs, like a dandelion, like a lot of different dandelion seeds all off of one center. But once you touch it, once you make contact with it, all of those like electrical hairs immediately converge into one spot. Maybe Salinger was a hair, and I don't know why it would only happen to Salinger. Maybe he's just unlucky. Maybe there were more of us. I don't know. We're thought spinning here, right? But
No.
maybe there is the lightning rod.
No. Other Seifert, I don't remember that experiment, but I think Other Doc is right. We need to go there, and we need to find all the Salingers, and all the Caseys, and all the rest of you. We need to find them.
And Peach, I think the reason maybe it happened now is, see that crack right there? Like, third from, well, that cloud that sort of looks like a muffin, that one. It just appeared, like, just now. So maybe that crack is where we fell into, and he's not, I don't know, here for that, because of that.
So, you all got good ideas, but all right, there's nothing as actual scientific as we can follow the lightning to the lightning rod.
We're sure he didn't go to the bathroom, right?
That's what I'm saying.
We're certain.
Why don't we look?
No, that's below the south.
Well, I'm gonna look in the last place we all agree that he had been. I'm gonna go back inside. Where
is the last place that we agree that we all agree that he was?
With Quebec.
I looked outside. There's none of his tracks and none of Poppy's tracks. And having said that, she's gonna head out after Kibeth and Esmond because she doesn't trust them to actually keep an eye out while they're rummaging through the books, so she's gonna keep an eye out for them.
Seifert begins. It's worth it to at least do a quick check, and she'll kind of sprint around and do a rapid check in a relatively nearby perimeter.
Sounds good. So Seifert's run off to check. Shalati is following Beth and Esmond to the Brary. What are Araya, Peach, and Ava doing? And Casey.
I'm searching the temple.
Casey will go over to Doc and say, Other Doc, what's your oldest memory with Casey, with me?
Let's see. I think it was you were super clumsy and stumbling over a really easy trick that you just couldn't get right because you were just so awkward.
You are from another timeline.
No, Casey, I don't.
Oh, it's worse than we thought.
The earliest memory I think I have of you was getting up after I took a stumble, and I just remember you helping me back up and telling me to try it again. I was on some sort of one of those contraptions that they took out for like the fair to make us ride around and you had to balance on. I don't remember how old I was, but I think that's my earliest memory.
Okay, so that's the same at least. But if we're all from different timelines, there has to be differences in our memories of each other.
Maybe there is. What do you think we should do about it? I mean, we have so many things. I mean, this area is kind of clear, but there's still the monster and the necromancer, but these cracks seem
I mean,
like,
we kind of have bigger fish, yeah. And he gestures up towards the sky. There's other Caseys out there.
oh, that's probably not true. But there's probably others of us. You're one of a kind, man.
Well, no, I mean all of us. Imagine all of us times whatever is the biggest number Ez can think of.
Oh, no, I know. So what do you think? We should just, like, immediately set out tomorrow for the tower? See if we can find, um, what's his name? Sal along the way?
I mean, I think if we can find more of us, the necromancers, giant turtles, towns full of zombies, nothing would stand a chance.
Oh. Well, if we think like ourselves and we decide to go towards the tower, then all of the other versions of us would probably think maybe a little similar, and at least some of them would probably think the same thing, right?
Yes, good thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll no doubt be heading that way as well.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, right?
So at least a few of the Salingers will also go there.
Yeah.
I mean, the ones that aren't dead.
Well, they might still go as well. She looks around at the undead. Oh, yeah. By the way, are you hurt?
What? He kind of wipes some soot off of his forehead. There is a bloody handprint over his chest. He's like, no, I'm fine.
Okay. Ava, who you're talking to, is a bit like you, but also just probably even more so, just covered with soot. Her hair, sweat dried on it and pasted down to her face, and just a little bit smattering of blood on her own clothes and dried from her hands from the time when she gripped the sides of Kabeth's head in order to heal her as she was being half devoured. She goes, well, there's no way we can travel right now, and it doesn't look like there's a whole lot in this place. Maybe can you help me find an one of those inns nearby? Because I'd really like to get cleaned up.
Yeah, of course. And as he kind of turns to leave, he's like, and I don't know if it was you or another you, but that thing you did with the area that just kind of shredded the zombies and like turned them to dust, you have to show me how to do that.
Sure. Um, yeah, we can talk about it, I guess. She looks a little sheepish about having done it.
Yeah, as they're walking away, he's like, I'll show you how to make a giant ball of fire. Like, did you see it was bigger than any one that I had made before?
It was super cool. Or hot, super hot. No, wait, I didn't mean like hot. That probably came off kind of weird. Never mind.
As you as you turn a corner, then another corner, you twitch, looking for Salinger. You don't see him, but you do see a single isolated zombie townsfolk lumbering through the alley. It's moving slower than you're used to them moving. Kind of looks at you. Looks confused. Starts taking a few steps toward you.
Is there anything else peculiar or noticeable about it, or it's just moving slowly?
Yeah, just moving slowly. You've run into zombies like this before. Typically aggressive, screaming, calling the others. And it just lumbers towards you, reaches out a hand, wantingly. It's looking at it. Was it a Genasi before it died?
She, even while transfixed, she doesn't just stay in place as it approaches her, but with kind of a solemn expression, she pulls out me looking at her armory, and it's her hands.
Left hand, right hand.
Yeah. Yeah, but she takes out the gnarled, blackened, spiny piece of wood that is her shillelagh, her quarterstaff, and will quickly and mercifully try to dispatch the zombie.
And lays still in the snow, cracked open, dead.
She whispers something quietly in Sylvan and then doesn't linger. She continues on with her search.
Something like this happens 2 or 3 more times as you're searching, and you realize very clearly the undead, weaker, slower. Nowhere before. Good. Give me a scene of Esmond and Kebeth searching through the library.
Beth quickly overtakes you because she, who can keep up with her? But she kind of like runs this. Wait! Are you going to the this very well organized pile of library rubble? I can help you look. I don't know what you're looking for, but I like books, and I can help you find them.
Yeah. Only part of the library is destroyed. Maybe the really nerdy shit wasn't destroyed. We need books on extra and interplanar travel and theory, and also time dilation and manipulation, which I don't even think is a concept worthy of having written a book up till now. So just find what you can.
Okay. Well, they'll probably have some kind of map or index or something around here somewhere of their inventory. Yeah, that's a pretty niche subject. Well, see what we can find. And she kind of kicks a book to the side, and it flips open to a page that shows 20 ways to cook snails. She kind of gives a side eye glance to it, like, no. She goes to find like the big index book.
And 2 of them set off to do that. Araya. You are in the ruins of this old sanctuary. A lot of the reliefs having faded over the ages, but still just enough to make out some bits here and there. Whoever this Brunhilde was, it's not a god you're familiar with, but it seems to tenets of courage, guardianship. The iconography is a broad-shouldered woman with a big, giant hammer.
I feel like this is definitely a goddess that Beth could get behind. Having just been in a situation where she was trying to hold on to her sense of self as well as a sense of another person just moments ago, she's going to try to hold on to both what she knows and what she thinks she knows, and lets her hand trace over the runes and the ruins that maybe this idea of Sal that she had might have followed.
You remember, Salinger would have loved this.
Oh, I should do a rubbing. Yeah. Paper. Charcoal. This feels... He was here, but not here. Where did he go? Maybe there's like a secret trapdoor inside this temple that's secrets. What if we're out of sight and then out of mind and then we get replaced by other ideas of who we are elsewhere? She thinks furiously about her friends that have just gone off to their own respective places. Starts writing down just ideas of Sal, but then ideas of what he wasn't, and then her friends that were just here, and what just happened, what she's sure that just happened, and what she's sure is and isn't.
Do that. What's Peach up to?
Peach would be doing her rounds independently, looking for Salinger, but every now and then kind of rounding a corner and forgetting that she's looking for anybody at all. But then she'll come back around another turn and she'll be actively looking for Salinger. She knows that Shalati said there weren't any prints of Poppy or of Sal, but Peach needs to look, so she keeps looking.
Everyone but Beth, Esmond, and Shalati, because looking for books in that mess is going to take a little while. After a while, the rest of you have converged kind of back at the ruins. Probably at this point, the sun's low on the horizon. Sky a strange color. We still don't have a word for it.
Well, you're still all the same, but if someone's lost, we shouldn't leave where we lost them.
We're not leaving right now. The sun's setting. We should get and we all need rest.
Is it still setting?
It seems to be taking longer. Maybe that's just me. But, I mean, yeah, we all should... There's nothing it sounds like we can do right now. In the morning, we can just think on, or I guess, what we want to do next, because we have a lot of things that we are supposed to take care of. And as Casey said, I mean, this, she points up at it, seems kind of like nothing else almost seems to matter, but at the same time, maybe we can't fix that. Maybe we can fix the small things around here, or maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know.
As Cypher rolls up, she comes in with a huff from having been running, and kind of sets down her bag. Araya, I think your water thing worked.
Oh?
They're all slow. They don't have that pep in their step that that they used to have. So that should, if anything else, if there are other survivors around and in town, they should be better off than before we came.
The most good. Yeah, we're helping at least a little.
Of course it worked.
Praise the maiden.
I just. Do you think it changed that large creature that Ez had seen in the city?
I mean, if they're all running from the same kind of power, then the big ones wouldn't be immune to it, right? If they're not, then maybe they're all still incredibly powerful and everyone here would be absolutely fucked. But I think the chances seem pretty likely that that they are weaker than they were before.
I'll take any good news at this point. Except for the sky. It feels like we take one step forward and maybe 3 steps in a whole other direction.
That's just why you have to be light on your feet.
Oh, wait. Is Esmond here? I can't remember. Are they still doing book stuff?
Esmond, Kabeth, and Shalati are not there yet.
Okay. Oh, wait. This is like, I mean, if he was here, he would definitely talk about why he couldn't and it would be too hard and blah, 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 blah. But Esmond closed the small portal, right? And like, if he did that with a small one, maybe if we can get to the tower, he can close a bigger one. I don't know what that would be like, but I mean, you know, maybe he could help or something, or talk to other smart people who know about it, and they could do that.
Right.
Yeah, I guess let's make sure we have all of the pieces in the right places. And then hopefully something that Esmond can do or can figure out how to do will keep this from happening again, assuming that we're right about what we're even experiencing.
Well, I mean, based on how things are going, it'd be hard pressed to probably make it too much worse.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about all of time and space stuff. Not my jam. But as I see it, the only backup plan that I see on the table is really a last resort. And if we blow up the world, we may as well. I mean, it's like two birds, one stone, right? Like the normally when this kind of thing happens, when you're in like a dream state where you're being given false memories and stuff like that, as I've heard it passed down family member to family member, the surest thing that you want to do is she pauses for a second, puzzling over her family thought patterns, as if for the first time questioning something that she had learned as a child. And then says a bit weakly, "You kill yourself because normally it's like a big bad Fey being, and either it's a dream and you'll wake up and then you'll be able to run away, or it's not. And that's kind of the risk that you take. It's like 50-50. So like I said, a last resort. And like, by the time that we blow up the world, we would kind of be looking at our diminished options, and it would probably take care of itself. So I say that we go for it.
Well, the odds might be even better. I mean, if there are other versions of us, right? And we are trying to do the same things, then wouldn't only like one of us have to get it right?
Wait, all of the as Esmond's thing that he can do, if theoretically other hymns could do it, and they're all at the same place because they all had the same idea, then there would be, like, I don't know, optimistically, like 4 or 5 survivors who make it all the way there and have the idea and have the equipment.
Wow.
Are they done yet?
Infinite Esmonds, and you only think 4 or 5 survive. That says a lot.
Well, yeah, but it's Esmond.
Yeah, all right, how many Peaches survive in this version? How many me's are there at the tower? God damn, Cyfred.
I think there would be at least 2 more of you than there would be of Esmond.
No, I've seen X-Men take a hit.
Don't feel bad, Peach. She can only count to 10, so she's being really positive right now.
Yeah, but these other realities aren't... They've only seemed to have taken away someone from us. We might have different memories of them, but they've taken the person.
Right.
How many maidens do you think there are?
There's only one
0.
maiden.
Oh, right.
Ava, I
Could you
don't
But no,
mock your medical science.
Well, right. We don't have any kind of guarantee that there are more of us headed toward the tower, because there's no guarantee there is more of us. We're just down 1. We're not up any. We can't count on there being any extra Esmonds or Avas or even Casey's, when we get to the tower. The other ones of you would have destroyed themselves, Casey. It's a compliment.
I think, contrarily, that Casey is so bafflingly, undeterrably headstrong that more of him would probably end up at this ridiculous Hail Mary of a location than any of the rest of us. I think that a solid half of literally all of us, except for Casey, would say that it's a bad idea and then not even go.
I think you're underestimating our persuasive abilities. And he kind of gestures to the non-existent Caseys around him.
But you possibly wouldn't... This seems like an exercise in like a philosophy debate. It's all nice and well, but...
Is it strange that we're believing in something that you can't see?
No, but we're talking hypotheticals that we don't know anything about. We don't know there's more of us. We know that there's one less of us. Why are we not looking for Salinger now? Why are we not headed toward the tower? Why aren't we on the move now?
Well, I looked for Salinger around the immediate area, and I did not see him. And then half of us are still basically bloody scraps, and we're trying to keep at least these versions of ourselves alive long enough to see if we can find Sal somewhere else.
So we should sleep on it, and maybe
Yeah.
we'll wake up and he's here?
My Salinger is dead, so...
I don't have a Salinger.
Well, I mean, we have a long way to go, Peach. Like, if I mean, it's all theoretical, but there's nothing more we can do right now. We need to rest, and if we are going to go towards the tower, that's a long trip. And we have to still get out of the city. So, we gotta rest up. So, what if we settle down in one of the places around here. Casey and I went by an inn, and it was, I mean, it had better amenities than this. I don't think it's as secure, but from what it looks like, those zombies don't seem to be much of a threat anymore.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. We can rest and wait and yeah.
I might be getting ahead of myself with this, but what if when we wake up, Salinger is back, everything seems like it's normal, but there's still this massive cataclysmic crack in the sky. What do we do? Do we still abandon everything that we're doing here and jump on that because it poked us? Or do we continue business as usual and just hope it doesn't happen again with somebody else or the same person?
I mean, my Ez has portal technology, so we could potentially travel through to different realms. See if this, he gestures to the sky, exists in all of them, or just a few.
Meanwhile, in the library, Esmond, Kabeth, you guys have been looking for a while now. So many books, so disorganized. Some of them are still on the shelves, but a lot of them are just on the ground now. Entire bookshelves have knocked over. One of the walls exploded. Give me a little Esmond Kabeth scene.
So Kibeth was looking for an index, and Esmond would have been helping initially, but after being unsuccessful for like the first half hour, whatever that we've been here, would have moved to the surviving portion of the library to just start looking from shelf to shelf, just like any books on any of the theories that he's considering, and just yelling back and forth with Kibeth, I imagine, just making idle conversation. Hey, so good job not getting eaten as a giant. That would have been very unfortunate.
Yeah, well, I'm afraid it was a close one. Twice. You know, Ava, surprising VIP in the zombie battle. Was not expecting her to. I don't know what she did that just took out. I mean, I was surrounded by a whole bunch of them, and then all of a sudden they all dropped dead. More dead? Did zombies drop dead? Are they dead again? Or they just? I don't know. They all fell to the ground, and that was that. And well, then it happened again, and then I thought I was pretty close to dead.
How loud are they yelling?
Well, so Kabeth is on the opposite side of the building. So if Ez is searching through like the non-ruined portion, Kabeth is in the ruined portion, and she's um she's like not giant, but she's using a fair amount of her strength to like move like broken wood and stuff, and just trying to figure out like what section of books she's in. And every once in a while she kind of like sees one, picks it up, flips through it, and she's still talking, and then like about one out of every 5 she's putting into her pocket.
In the midst of this, Charlotte appears around the latest bookshelf that Kibeth has moved and says, "Dude, realize there's still a necromancer who like took over an entire city at large, and we also took out like a big thing that helped control and make strong a lot of these zombies, and they might come by to see what happened to the zombie."
Entirely possible, but given current circumstances, a necromancer and or more undead on top of what we're dealing with honestly is not the worst thing that we could end up dealing with at the end of it all right now. So And just keep searching.
Beth starts talking in a stage whisper. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk so loud.
So just, and then goes back to keeping an eye out. I think at some point while they were searching, she might have gotten bored and start. She's not looking in the books, but she's kind of looking to see if there's any hidden trapdoors or like secret compartments or things.
Okay. Let me have the three of you roll investigation, please.
Oh,
I was gonna say, please roll natural 20. I'm so glad I didn't say anything.
As you're looking around, Shalati, you kind of swipe your boot through a pile of books and you uncover a satchel.
she picks it up and opens it up to check inside.
Yeah, there's some blood that stains on the front portion of it, a gash that kind of goes through. Nothing, not enough to where things have fallen out of it, but yeah, whoever was carrying the satchel certainly got attacked at some point. But inside you find, looks like journal, and there's some scrolls. Oh, these kind of look like the scrolls that Esmond likes.
She doesn't yell. She walks over to where Esmond is and says, just like proffers open the bag and points at the scrolls that look like magic scrolls.
Oh, okay, good. Wow, good find. I'll look at those later. What's that? Journal?
She's kind of has it on her front now as sort of like a little bib, and then she pulls it out and flips through it.
So, some kind of really complex writing and notes. This looks like, this kind of looks like Esmond stuff.
Looks like more of your kind of thing. I'll hold on to this while you keep looking around.
Hold on. Let me see that real fast, and he'll take it. The journal, Shoddy will offer it just to quickly flip through it.
Taking a quick flip, it looks as though these are writings by, if you had to guess, a wizard who was studying the failures of magic after the tower appeared.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. You hold on to these things. I'll look at them more in depth later. But good find. Very good find. That could be helpful.
She thumbs up and wanders off again.
Aside from that, Kabeth, as you're looking around, book looks interesting. You find a book that seems to be about something called the weave of magic. You're not really sure you've heard that term before, but you're not really sure what the context is here. It seems to be intellectual writing. There doesn't seem to be any interesting stories.
Kabeth has plopped down on a broken chair. It's kind of a tilt angle, like one of the legs is off, but she kind of like looks at it, props up like underneath something else broken, and sits down for a second. What section do I seem to be in? Like, or is this place just so destroyed? Doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, it's like a wrecking ball through a library.
Well, I found an interesting one, but I don't know about what you're looking for.
Anything that piques any interest whatsoever, hold on to it, and we can look at it later on. We're not going to find what I'm looking for. I'm just hoping to find something to get us on the right path, maybe.
Okay. Kabeth, like, looks around, finds an area with the most books on the ground and kind of pushes them into a pile and plops down and just starts going through one by one and putting some of them she's kind of like tossing over her head and some of them she just puts down next to her.
And Esmond, you find tangentially related. It looks like something about the network of teleportation circles throughout the Kingdom of Lux, and commerce, and supply chain for sending materials, distribution, things like that.
Okay, that is potentially super helpful. Yeah. Stow that one away and keep looking for more theoretical meta theories on magic.
Yeah, you guys can go back to looking. Back the other group. Did you guys decide to move to the leave the sanctuary and move to the tavern?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I was on board with that plan.
Man, give me a little scene of what you guys are doing at this now abandoned tavern on the northern side of the Travelers District. 2 stories, multiple rooms. Pretty swanky, actually.
I guess after just doing like the basic securing of like the doors and windows on the first floor to try to like prop it up to make sure, things just can't come spilling in immediately and clearing the house. If they've gotten to the point where the place is clear, I didn't know if we're flashing forward that far or not. Or do you want us to go through the process of clearing the house?
Araya would have left a scribbled note saying where they had gone in the temple.
You can kind of tell me what you guys are doing.
Okay. Yeah, after working with everybody to make sure there's no zombies under the beds or in the closets, and kind of try to secure the place a little bit, the same way they did the factory that had the water mill, just sort of look everything over and have it secured. When there's some time, one of the rooms that Ava had hoped that would be there, she finds, and it is a very modern bathhouse, basically, where inside they have this medium-sized room. It has like a furnace that you put like logs in, and above it, it has a chute that has the smoke that goes out the chimney, but also it has a very large bowl that is just sort of connected to it right above it. And in front of or behind that is a crank with a wheel on it that has little cups. And when you activate it, the cups kind of come up through the floor, and go down into either a well or a reserve or something under the ground, possibly. And they just sort of spill water into that giant bowl, and realizes if you were to heat that, it would heat the water, and then you can divert that bowl of warm water into one of like 2 directions with these pipes that go overhead. One is towards like a little shower area, and the other one is like towards a bath. And she uses the time to like end up staking out and just taking time for herself to use get all of that sort of set up, and end up cleaning up, and yeah, taking time to get herself put back together, and yeah. Oh, there was one more geeky thing that I actually thought about. I think I told you about this. There's also a smaller place that you could sort of wash your clothes. It's a bin, the same kind that you just run clothes over, the old-fashioned, like you put it in a tub and then scrub it out. And while there's a line to sort of hang clothes on, there's also next to it a big square. And it's like a very it's got these huge gears all around it, and It is substantially larger on the outside than it is on the inside, but it is a very rudimentary dryer where you stick everything in there, and as you crank it, it just spins around like a salad spinner, and the water from the clothes goes on the outside of it and sort of drains back down. So your clothes are more dry before you hang them up.
Nice. As Ava's doing that, what's everyone else up to?
Once I hear the sounds of showering, just the thought of being clean again sounds, divine, actually. But, she's sort of pacing, really uncomfortable with the idea of two realities in her head. But busies herself outside the door waiting for Ava to finish. And then being like, wait, show me.
It takes a long time, but eventually Ava comes out. She looks extremely put together from the way she looked when she went in. Her clothes are obviously still a little damp, but as soon as she sees you outside the door, she's like, "Oh my god!" And her face gets a little red. She's like, "I forgot. I was really rude of me. I'm so sorry. I should have
No.
not taken."
No, I just didn't even think of it until I heard the sound of running water, and then it seemed like the best idea, and I almost kind of miss being clean and home.
Yeah, no, come on, please take it. Use. Do you know how to operate all of this stuff? It's pretty straightforward. Like,
Right? No, show me, because now that I think about it, the temple was really Luddite.
yeah, no, this is, I always love seeing stuff like this. It's one of the reasons I wanted to come to a bigger city. I knew they would have cool stuff like this. Yeah, I'll show you how it works and you can
Yes.
get cleaned up. And she's gonna
All
walk
of
her
my
through it.
robes. She comes, grabs befouled robes. Yes. I think Sal would like this too.
Yeah, I think you would. She tries to remember as she says that and walks her through the whole thing in the room and shows her how to use everything. And in a really sensual cutscene, she shows her. No, I'm just joking. She shows her how to use
It's
everything
just
and then leaves.
the old 80s movie shower scene from yeah.
Yeah.
It just gets too foggy to see. You can't see anything.
Amid the overcomplexity of the way all the gears and everything work, and little ropes that pull cups and stuff like that, you do have this thought, Araya, that isn't the water supposed to be warmer than this? Did someone use up all of the hot water?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Probably
No, it's okay. It's clean though. It's clean water, and that counts for a lot. And the fog is kind of, the steam is kind of warm. So I mean, it's. I just I'm gonna be a little bit faster than you, I think.
Yeah, she feels guilty for the second time.
Meanwhile, what's everyone else up to?
Peach has found herself a room, and while she has a basin of water, she hears the voices of the other girls in the larger bathroom and realizes that she's going to have to wait a little longer for shower or tub. So instead, she kind of busies herself pulling things out of her endless floral bag. But she pulls out cloak, change of clothes, a few snack cakes, and then as she's kind of almost shoulder deep in the bag, she pulls out a journal. It's one of her mom's, but it's only mostly used, and Peach has been writing her own entries in the back. And as she flips through, she looks to see if there's any mention of Sal, because she's definitely written his name in this book a few different times.
Yeah, as you look through frantically, looking for the entry, you know it should be there. It should be between those.
Peach would keep flipping through to see if anything else has changed, or if it's just like limited to entries about Salinger. She'll see if she can find any evidence of him at all, written in her own handwriting.
Yeah, you search frantically. And there's nothing about him there. You can't help but wonder if something else had changed. Would you even know?
That's very creepy, Chris. Thick.
Seifert lingers around the ground floor of the inn, kind of like both in and out, kind of keeping an eye around the area of the square in front of the inn, and waiting for the others to find them, and also kind of just wandering in, looking around, taking a peek at what is like in stock, if everything here is rotten, if it's fine, kind of just getting like just an overall lay of the current shelter, while everyone else is preoccupied and there is no way to bathe.
You do find a keg of wine and some things pickled and preserved. Anything that would need to be fresh is certainly rotted. But you do find food. It's not necessarily the most delicious, and it's sort of piecemeal. There are things there. Maybe in a moment where you in the front, keeping an eye out for the others. At this point, the skies become dark, and you realize that in the darkened sky, you can see, in the night, you can still see those cracks in the sky, illuminated by what almost seems to be like a greenish light, occasionally accented with hints of teal, bits of purple, almost leaking from the cracks in the sky.
She gazes up at it with some wonder, familiar with the way that terror and beauty can exist side by side.
And at that point, you see Esmond and Kabeth and Charlotte making their way from the library towards the tavern.
She'll wave them over, not yelling or anything, just motioning to make sure that they see the right building.
They will march up. Esmond will approach Seifert. All right. You guys, I guess, managed to lock down this place, secure it?
Yeah, we looked through. A few of them are upstairs bathing. There's not a lot of there's not a lot left in here that is still good, but there is some wine, some pickled vegetables, pickled fish, that kind of stuff. So anything fermented is still here, and there's running water, and no zombies. So perfect shelter.
If it had more food, then it would be more perfect. But I'll take a look with you and see if I can, I have a nose for finding things to eat.
If your tolerance for rotten food is higher than mine, you are welcome to it.
Kibeth briefly thinks back to pondering the dead zombie body while it cooked in Casey's flame, and she's like, "Yeah, I definitely think I have a tolerance for eating things that maybe others would pass on. I'll take a look around." She slaps a small stack of books into Ez's hands, whether or not you're ready to catch them. And they're very heavy,
Nope.
like a stack of
Nope.
like 8
Definitely. Nope. Definitely not ready. And considering he's missing his prosthetic, his grip is even lessened. So actually, hold
Cypher
on.
will catch it with her foot, like sort of with the top of her foot pressing up from underneath. She helps.
Oh, I managed to hold on to them.
Kibeth sees you like briefly falter. She's like, "Oh, right, strong. Sorry.
Oh,
thought
it's good.
these
I got
would
them.
be
I got them.
used-
I'm going.
Well,
Hey,
can-
you guys.
No, I can-
No, I got it. You and Esmond starts walking. You guys should go ahead and bathe and eat and stuff. I'm gonna take all this and go find a room and organize, and I'll be upstairs if anyone needs me.
I'll bring you something very fresh to eat that's not at all rotten."
Meanwhile, Casey, you stand in front of one of the closets in one of the back rooms of the inn. You hear the thumping inside the closet.
Well, that's disconcerting. He walks up to it and pulls it open.
Or the door open. Inside you see the pale, slightly bloated body of a townsfolk zombie. Certainly a halfling. Noose around the neck, hanging from a support in the closet. It reaches out at you.
Didn't have to go this way. He reaches into the air and pulls out a knife. Throws it into the ground and snaps his finger and tosses the ball into the creature to burn him up.
Fabric flashing very quickly. Sometime later, you guys have finished bathing if you wanted to and organizing food. It seems as though the tavern's clear.
Esmond has sequestered himself into a room, essentially claiming it as his own, and has not come out since he took his own bath.
Esmond, you can't claim the bathroom. That's just the one room in the whole place you can't claim.
Kibeth has brought you. Actually, we can do it as a team. Kibeth knocks on the door.
It's open.
Kibeth kind of like you hear as the door creaks in, and Kibeth pokes her head in. You see her horn. Something is like this little tassel dangling from it that she pulled off a curtain. She's like, "Brought you food. You hungry? I mean, I'm gonna give it to you anyways, whether or not you're hungry." So, yeah.
The room is an immediate disaster. You can tell that it was clearly an inn that was very bare and had only the basic necessities, but it has, since Esmond came into its presence, been turned into a makeshift workshop. There are papers scattered all across the floor, nailed into the walls. You see the remains of Typhon, after it had been destroyed by zombies, slowly putting itself together. You see a bunch of sparks coming off of it as it is seemingly repairing itself. And Esmond is just going back from one side of the room to the other, just looking over random sheets on the wall, taking quickly jotting down notes, and then going back to the other side of the wall and just doing the same thing, just going back and forth. And he's talking to you as he does this. Yeah, you can just leave it by the door. I will get to it at some point.
You see Kabeth holding a plate piled with way more food than she normally brings you. And she was like, oh, well, I was thinking, I'm not just fast at running. I'm also a great speed reader. And I thought that, I could help you look through some of these books and then maybe I would learn something that would be helpful and useful to you too. And also snacks.
He stops, turns to look at you. Yes. Get over here. Let's go. And he just goes back to doing what he was doing.
Kabeth finds like a comfortable spot to plop down. She puts the plate within reach of her, but clearly like still like in a good distance for him. And she kind of nibbles on a little something and opens up the first book in the stack. She sits and reads.
Cypher goes to find Araya.
She's sitting in a prayer pose in one of the many, many rooms, but head bowed over her hands, just quiet.
Hey.
Do you... Or, what?
I mean, nothing if it's not a good time.
No, it's just, when things seem out of my reach, this helps.
Okay, great. Then I guess I don't actually have to say what I was going to say.
What do you... Wait, no, say what... It might also help.
Well, you just seemed particularly in conflict earlier at the revolution of multiple memories and such and whatever. And I wanted to check on you just to be sure you were good.
Well, I trust you all. It's weird not to trust myself. I feel like there needs to be... No, I trust you. It doesn't make sense that our memories have taken the physical person away. Like, if Sal was still here, and then I just also remembered a time in which he wasn't, that would make more sense, but if he's not here, I don't trust that there's physically a person of us to match the memories. Does it make sense?
No, it doesn't. I don't think that competing realities necessarily is any different than what normal life is like. Memory is always faulty and can be influenced by many external factors.
Right. So how does that mean that there's multiple of us converging on the tower right now? That doesn't mean anything. It just means Sal isn't here.
Well, we don't know that that's what's happening. It's just a guess. But in the absence of other ideas, entertaining the guess is something to do about it. What would the alternative be?
No, you're right. One step forward is always better than waiting for things to magically fix themselves.
What I was always told growing up is to trust your instincts, that gut feeling, that initial flash. And everything else can just tangle you up on the way. But that faith that you have in that instinct can make all of the difference in the split second danger of life and death. Not that this is necessarily that, or also not to say that we aren't always kind of putting ourselves in peril, but I guess another way of looking at it is this. If your other memory is that Salinger didn't exist or was never here, then there's no harm in trying to chase the Salinger that you think was here. There's no conflict, right?
Yes, because the other path forward is, well, doesn't matter for me.
The other path forward is ultimately nothing. So, I don't know. I guess I was just trying to offer up a nudge of clarity in the sense that the stuff that's really confusing about it doesn't ultimately change anything. And there's no reason to be overly distressed about it. It'll either be completely out of our control and the world will crumble around us and there's nothing that we can do about it anyway. Mm-hmm. Or we can take our best guess and run with it because it feels right and we did our best, right?
Right, yeah. The secret to how I function day to day is kind of worrying about everything. So.
Isn't that a little ironic for Faith?
Well, there's a lot of people and things and whatnot to pray for. And I don't want to forget anyone. And I am forgetting someone right now. I was writing it down. What if the next is... What if we wake up and we're each all alone?
What ifs are endless and can eat you alive.
True.
And so if spinning over what ifs doesn't change what you can do about them, because ultimately the what ifs you're talking about are things that are completely outside of our control. It would just be terrible things that would happen to us. Then are the what ifs benefiting you?
Well, if you prepare for every single eventuality, then you at least are not caught off guard when one of them does come to be.
I can't argue with that. I mean, there's plenty of intrinsic Huringan anxiety, if you will. So I get that, but
for you, what's the other memory you have of Sal?
To be completely honest, we listed so many memories of Salinger in great earnesty that I'm not sure I even recall what my other memory was, or if I'm just thinking of something that somebody else said.
I mean,
And
that's true. Was that your memory, or was it someone else's memory? What's the difference?
but I'm also not particularly worried about it. I mean, because whatever whatever iteration it was, it falls categorically in a similar place. It's not like I think that he's like just, you know, like a mile or two from here. And if we walked in the opposite direction of the tower, we would definitely find him. I either think that he died as a child or never existed or is back in town or any of those potential alternatives, in which case he's either dead or fine. And going to the tower without him won't kill him, even if he's disappointed.
True. So you're kind of going off of what would Sal do?
I'm trusting my gut.
Yeah.
My first thought was that he was right here. And so I'm just running with that one. If that one turns out to be wrong, then, you know, that kind of thing happens. That kind of thing happens all the time to everybody. People get in trouble all the time. People make wrong decisions all the time. And there's just nothing that you can do to prevent ever making a wrong decision.
Well, yeah. It seems like our world's only made up of the wrong ones right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not being a light. I just I think getting some rest and we'll wake up and it'll be better. A new day, just. Do you really think it's the sky? That seems impossible to fix, impossible to navigate.
Well, truthfully, in my experience, the only time that anything like this would ever happen would be if we were all placed under a Fey spell. So, to be completely frank, I'm certain that that must be the reality in some part of my brain. But if that is the case, then there's no good options for what to do, and we may as well try any other alternatives at all.
Would you think that the Fey spell would be localized to one area, that leaving the town might break its hold on us and we'll suddenly find ourselves wandering around in a forest in Saltu?
I mean, I think that it would be more of like a mental trap and we aren't actually in our bodies walking around at all. We're just like asleep somewhere.
And
but
it's eating us.
Yeah, that's my thought. But in the meantime, in the absence of proof of that or anything to do about that, I'm absolutely willing to run with the time is fracturing apart and it's a lightning rod where maybe all of the Salingers in the universe got sucked up into, which sounds frankly outrageous and completely unbelievable. But it's better than nothing, and there isn't really any compelling alternative course of action. So I feel completely comfortable with trying to run with the time is splitting apart theory.
Right. Well, time is changing. Yeah.
Well, I hope you feel more settled now.
Now I'm worried that I'm going to wake up missing an arm.
Missing an arm?
Because some Fey thing is hungry and it put us into a weird sleep and it's already eaten Sal.
Well, but in the dream version, that wouldn't happen to you. It would
Oh,
just
I'd
be
be
happening
fine.
and you wouldn't be aware of it until
Real
you were
me.
completely, like tossed into oblivion. So,
Usually, people hope that they do die in their sleep peacefully, so yeah.
it's one of the best ways to go.
I mean, if we have a choice. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, just wanted to check in, make sure you were good with all of the like crazy stuff that's going on, and
Not at all, but
I'll leave you to your potential uh parallel dream inception nap. I wish you the best. And uh and oh, but also you you never have to be light on my account.
Yeah. Well, if you can't help, then what good are you, right?
Anyway, let me know if you have any wild dreams.
Oh, yeah. Watch, maybe I'll have two.
Charlotte back here. I don't think we've been properly introduced. My name is Orthocles Feldspar Calcia.
What are you doing, Casey?
My Shalati with not my the Shalati that I know.
Her brows are furrowing deeper and deeper.
I found this, and it kind of reminded me of her, and I think she would like it, but she's obviously not here. So, and he kind of pulls the dead forged breastplate that Casey recovered from the giant snail of armor and weapons and stuff.
What do you mean she's not here? And she looks around as if like expecting to see another self, gets caught up for a second on the mirror image of herself in this glowing blue light, and then shakes her head and looks around again.
I mean, with all the different timelines and
Why would there be another? I only have the one. Do you have alternate memories of me?
I don't know. What do you remember about us?
She's quiet for a second and then she starts to blush. I remember pushing you down on the playground when you were 7.
Oh, I mean, I kind of let you do that, but that
What? No, I don't think so. Because
yeah, no,
there was that rock in the way.
I slowed down so that you could catch up.
That doesn't sound right.
See,
You literally must be another. A different Casey.
but yeah, he holds up the breastplate, kind of tentatively. I don't know. It's kind of seemed like it might serve you well.
She picks it up in his hands and like turns it over and looking at it. It's a little heavier than she expected, so there's that little bit of a poop as it goes down into her hands before she restabilizes. And her hands run over the sort of pitted, blackened metal. She says, "It looks. This is from that blacksmith creation thing, isn't it?"
Yeah, Ez was saying something about curses and use them or anything like that, but I mean, I don't think that really exists, so.
Well, it's a little late for that. And she looks over at the dead forged halberd that she's been using. I mean, I don't think I need either of these are good use, but somehow it feels a little better to use something that maybe has the souls of people I don't know in it than the souls of people I do. And she glances over at the cleaver glaive that was taken from the ruins underneath Shepherd's End. Well,
Yeah, like I
just
said, I don't really have a use for something like that, and I thought my Shalati, you might like it.
she does it over a few more times thoughtfully and says, I've never really felt quite right, but honestly, after everything that's going, maybe something else would. Here, and then she like starts to pull it on, like trying to pull on the straps, and turns around to like just gestures at her shoulders to get him to pull the straps on.
Yeah, he'll move up close and tighten down, help her don the armor. Yeah, see, it fits well.
She strokes her shoulders a little bit and like bangs on the plate a few times, kind of shifting it into something that's a little bit more comfortable over the coat and the padding underneath. If this is the same kind of thing, I think it might take me a little bit, but and like sort of muttering to herself, she's wanders off to the outside and like, are there like? I was just gonna assume there's like a stable and hay bales and something, and she starts to basically just like do somersaults and ram herself into the the hay bales, and essentially just getting used to the feel of it. And then halfway, she does this once or twice, and then blinks and looks back if Casey is still there.
Yeah, he's kind of watching her and.
Thank you.
Well, you can't test it that way. And he reaches into the sky and pulls out a dagger and kicks off towards her, presumably to spar.
Alright, so everyone at this point has completed short rest. You're on your way to doing a long rest, presumably. Let's say at some point, the people who want to, you've come together, maybe the main portion of the tavern under two. Maybe discuss what you're gonna do next.
I guess what else needs to be, if we weren't trying to rush off, what precisely are our goals here?
The giant monster that was in the center of town, and the necromancer that the verdict was chasing, that we said we would help get.
I think I have some idea of who the necromancer may be. And it's not just us. It's not just us looking for the necromancer. There's someone trying to undo what they're doing.
What do you mean?
When I was cleansing the body, I became him. I saw what was done to him. I saw when he was taken and turned into this, that. There was a ritual. You know the runes that we saw on the creatures, the really large ones? All the perverted givers and stuff, that corrupted sigils. They were inscribed into his body while he was alive. Maybe I should just skip over those parts because those are things I'd really rather not remember. But
but there's someone else trying to undo the machinations of the person that we're also trying to undo the machinations of.
But it means we might have allies out there.
Do you have any idea where they might be?
Ugh. Well, No. Well.
Roll a wisdom check. There was a sense of traveling south, looking for something, an answer to a problem.
So, south, I think. I touched that ritual, so I got some sense of what was going on south and looking for something. What even is south of?
South, like the southern part of the town. Or south, like many years of foot travel away.
Oh, it's definitely not years. He was killed just not long. Well,
And not from that feeling. Doesn't come from the man who was killed. It came from
it comes from
other one.
the necromancer that was, or the helpers.
You did not ever get a perspective of the red-haired woman. You never got her perspective. You got the man who was killed and the person who killed him.
The necromancer was searching for something south. I don't.
With a 16, you're not sure how far.
It's a direction, but it's the opposite direction.
Wait, so are we... I thought someone said that the necromancer was probably with the big undead thing at the train station?
Not the necromancer. The giver, right? Or the
fabricator is the
Yeah.
one in the center of town. That's the one that has been empowering all of the greater undead creatures that we've been coming across recently. The ones that have those runes carved into their bodies.
Right. Well, the reason we came here in the first place was to find survivors, get supplies, and then when we found out the extent of the undead problem here, to
Burn
take
it to
care of it
fire.
because they were... maybe that too, but to take care of it so that it wouldn't attack Shepherd's End.
So with that, we have a number of different routes to take. The first is we follow Rhea's sense of where the necromancer was headed, and we start moving south. The other option is we stay in town and we try to destroy the rest of the undead horde, and at minimum, stop the fabricator, since that seems to be the thing that is putting together the strongest of these undead creatures. And then finally there is that issue, and he just vaguely gestures north, which I don't even know where to begin with that. So those are our 3 points of contention to figure out at the moment.
I really do think that if we leave the undead to roam, those civilians remaining they don't stand a chance, even though they're less powered. I think that just means better for us in trying to solve.
You should purify that large creature in the center of town.
Well,
The
I don't know
turtle-like
how much
guy.
water he's made of.
Well, that actually leads into the point I was going to make. Araya was able to cleanse this well and purify the water in this section of town, but we don't necessarily know if this well is connected to the other parts
Oh.
of the town or not. So it's
It
entirely
was
possible.
connected to an aquifer deep underground. There was a well, but then there was a natural cavern that the body was chained into. In fact, I think that we could find our way through some. It sounded like there was the undead down there too.
Still can't believe you all let her go down there alone.
I invited.
I-
It was really gross, though.
I stayed at the very top for most of it.
She had to dive underwater and go into a cave by
I
herself so that
told
we
her
didn't know
not
anything.
to. Shalati,
From up
I was
top.
right there hollering down to her saying, do not go underwater. Let us get Esmond. Let us get Casey, somebody who doesn't need to breathe.
But it
I was
needed to be done.
being your voice of reason, Shalati.
It needed to be done.
It needed to be done, and neither Ez nor Casey could have done it, and it turned out okay. Honest. In fact, I helped, so it was really, we don't need to argue that point, and I'm
Yeah.
safe and fine. And the only one of us that's not safe and not fine, we can't do a darn thing about. So
It worked out completely fine, and you were brave and helpful. So, but it was attached to, but that well was part of an entire underground water system, so likely connected to the rest of town, right?
Theoretically, yeah. Although I think that we should stay above ground in case of another earthquake.
But that would mean then if this part of town is any indication of what the rest of the town is like, after you perform that ritual, you purified the water, it's entirely possible that the remaining undead are also sluggish and weakened after the purification. We might have an easier time of attacking and defeating the fabricator.
It's worth a try. Yeah, absolutely.
It was only the little ones that became slower, isn't it? The big ones seem to be the same.
Well, I think the big ones are just big.
Big ones had that ruins.
Have we seen question for Sen, who was not present? Did we see, were we like in battle, like actively we saw a large undead after the water was purified and all of the small zombies slowed down?
Yeah. So the water was purified in the middle of the battle, essentially, and you were still in a fight with one of the giants who is ornamented with all of the black runes. That one did not seem to get weaker, just the zombie townsfolk.
So
it still helps to, even if there's a big bad that is a huge pain in the ass and incredibly dangerous to take on, it is definitely a benefit to not have as powerful an ambient horde in the mix as well. Do we have any ideas at all for trying to find these potential powerful allies before leaping right back into a huge and deadly battle?
Well, yeah, Rhea gets the big guy on our side. It was fighting them before the zombies.
And then it seemed like it got infected or something.
Right. Araya cures it.
What?
It's on our side.
No, that seems more like something Ava's capable of doing.
I think the infection here is death, isn't it? Hard to cure that.
Just let it die.
Look, either way, let's go and check out the big thing and see if it's
Yes.
even still a threat. Let's go and look and see, and then we can make a plan. Because I'm not leaving this town, real fast in any case. As far as I know, Salinger might show up in 20 minutes having, I don't know, got lost or something, or fallen through a crack and fallen back out. I don't want to leave the last place we saw him.
Charlotte nods at
Well,
Peach.
but also, who's to say that wherever he is and whatever he's experiencing, he thinks that he's with us wherever we are, and we could just blink and he would be back as if he was never gone.
Okay, this might actually be a good opportunity to try and share an idea I have regarding time disorder, I guess we can call it.
Right.
Okay, so everyone right now has one shared memory that we all have of having traveled here to Mirwood, battling along Salinger, and him coming with us to the Sanctum earlier today, just a handful of hours ago. Correct? But we also all have our very own second distinct memories of something occurring to Sal, either not knowing him or him dying at an early age, or him just not even coming to Mirwood with us in the first place. Correct? Okay. There is no hard scholastic theory or ideation on that concept. This is new territory as far as I am aware. For now, we just all need to focus on the one shared memory that we all have of having traveled with Salinger before. We all have that second memory, and potentially we could all gain more memories as those tears continue to open and converge over the spire. But to avoid, I don't even know, to avoid potential physical, psychic, any kind of damage to yourself due to a theory of convergence of different timeline identities of ourselves on one another. We all just need to focus on the one shared memory that we have, in which Salinger does exist, that he did travel with us, that he has been fighting alongside us. I don't think that we should leave town until we can find him, and whether he finds us or we come across him randomly, that is something that we will have to figure out. But we just need to we can't focus on these new, just as truthful second memories that we have. We all need to keep in mind the first just as true one, just as true memory, and maybe that could lead him back to us. I don't know.
So do we all hold hands and think really hard about the shared
No,
memory?
this isn't this isn't the power of
eulogy?
friendship nonsense. No, that's silly. No, just
Just think of him in the single shared memory. Okay, try to forget the other one, or don't think about it.
You don't need to try to forget or not think about it. It's just
I don't think you're explaining yourself very clearly, Esmond. Sorry.
It's, well, this is this also doesn't make any sense. Just don't concern yourself with that second memory. Is all I can say. I'm theorizing still to try and explain what all is happening, but I don't have anything solid yet.
Okay,
We are collectively experiencing something that is extremely weird and unexplainable, but we have one shred of a commonality, and regardless of whatever else we absolutely believe is true, we are going to act as if the only reality is that Salinger was with us, which is our shared memory. And that is it. Anything else that we think of, anything else that happens to pop into our heads of all of the reasons why that is not true, it doesn't matter how we feel about it. We are agreeing here to operate on that shared truth.
Exactly. Yes. If anyone else has any more memories arise, mention it, as it could be a sign of something potentially. but mention that so that if anyone else is also experiencing an additional memory, we can all get together and verify what is the shared memory and what is the new memory.
Right. We need to make sure we can tell if something's spreading or getting worse or if we're forgetting more.
So
I
if
have a question for Chris. So wait, the only thing we can remember about Sal is that he was a person with us. We can't remember anything else of our shared past with him?
Oh, you remember all of it.
Okay, just wanted to
We
be
have
sure.
like 2 complete sets of memories in our heads about this person.
Okay, thank you.
Something that I know all the other cases would do. If I go missing, meet me at that. And he kind of points vaguely towards the giant crack in the sky. Because
well,
that's
but we're not talking
Sky.
about UK, so we're talking about Salinger.
Could you
And
pick a place that's like
if we're-
easier to reach?
So if
Like-
we're acting as if all those other memories just don't exist, what we would do if Salinger was missing is we would stay in the city and we'd search for him, and then we might still try to do the other things that we came here for, but we would not leave the city until we found him.
That's what I'm
Yes?
saying. Yeah, me and Ez, and I think you too, Schlotty, are on the same page.
Is there like a tailor shop in the city somewhere? The place he would most likely go?
Or some kind of ruins with like storybooks, or yes, a tailor bookshop, some kind of
Well,
combined thing.
Oh
we
boy.
lost him in the place where it's most likely to be, which would be the ruins, the temple. It started there. He's lost there. He's most likely there.
So then we just have to look through the city and maybe take care of other things while we're here.
Unfortunately, Jordan Boggs' map only contains the things that they thought were important.
I can make a better map tomorrow and scout the city.
Heh.
I want to find Sal as much as anybody, but just I guess to be frank about it, no matter how long we stay here and comb through the entire city trying to find him, it may not be possible to find him, but ultimately there is the amount of time that we have to spend here combing through the city is ultimately finite in some capacity. We should know what we are doing rather than just searching every square inch of this huge place.
Well, like I said, I can probably do a lot of the scouting tomorrow. It shouldn't take very long. And then we can decide from there.
And we all at least need the night to rest and recharge. I mean, some of us are in rough shape. I'm gonna keep looking around while folks are recovering.
I am certainly not advocating that we leave immediately. I'm not even saying that we leave in the next week, but there will be an endpoint to our ability to search, and we may not find him given the mysterious circumstances of his sudden disappearance. What we will do after that is something that we should be considering, even if we don't come to any conclusions right now.
So
I mean, I don't know what there is otherwise. If he's not here, then we leave.
yeah, we'll just take care of the things and we'll find him along the way, or we don't find him along the way. But
fortunately, if he is here, Poppy is pretty distinctive in terms of her tracks and what she looks like. So
yeah, so we just stick to the objectives, and if we all think on it really hard, maybe he just pops back the same way he didn't go, is gone. And then, and if he doesn't, well, we can't really do anything else, right? I mean, he's either here or he's not.
Okay, so then we come back to my question earlier. Do we have any ideas for finding these potentially powerful allies that can help us in our goal to take down these big powerful undead before we are even willing to leave?
I don't know what you're all talking. There are no potentially powerful allies. We have no idea that there are other versions of us at all.
Well, not us.
No,
The
not
ones that
other
Araya
versions of
saw.
us.
She
Oh, the
saw
ones that
other
Araya
people.
saw. Okay, thank you.
She said they headed south.
Okay.
That feels like a far-flung.
They might have followed
idea.
the necromancer south.
Just as
Yeah, she didn't say that they went south. The necromancer was looking for something in the south.
Just as a contextual reminder, that person who was killed, those events happened, I want to say 7 or 8 months ago. It was like when the verdict was first arriving in Maywood.
Okay, so time-wise, even if they were here, there's been so much time, the odds of them still being around the area are really unlikely unless the necromancer also just decided to set up shop, right?
Array, did you describe the people that you saw?
Well, the necromancer was a man, and he was missing an eye, and he took the eye from the farmer, the sacrifice, and the people following was a woman with red hair and someone else.
I thought the report said a woman with red hair was the necromancer.
That's
See,
what
that's what I
Veteran said.
thought. But
everybody
no.
roll intelligence.
Everyone roll poorly.
I know, but like I was in the thing. I'm gonna roll really badly on intelligence.
Ooh, Cypher, nice.
It is.
Ha!
Charlotte.
It's still not a natural one.
Fucking stellar.
Cypher, you remember very distinctly the Thedrian described the necromancer as a woman with red hair and missing an eye, with dark runes on her body.
The Thedrian communicated to us the details of the necromancer that he believed that he was looking for. It was the red-haired woman, etc., etc. But what Araya is saying that she saw counters that information. That's not information that the Thedrian had, as far as we know.
Well, does it counter it, or did she just see, like, we have two memories?
No,
maybe...
I saw what the man experienced. It was a one-eyed man who approached him and sacrificed him, but tortured him while he was alive. I felt it. I know what he felt, and I know what he saw.
Right, but we all know Salinger exists here, and we know he exists somewhere else.
That's a separate thing. Araya,
we're also not experiencing any other direct memory conflicts other than pertaining to Salinger, as far as we know. We can't just question every aspect of our reality. We'll go crazy.
I believe Araya over whatever that verdict said.
Yeah, Araya, are you saying that there was this man who killed the man who was like poisoning the river or poisoning the aquifer? So some other man killed this man.
Well,
did he turn him into the toxic zombie thing then?
So it was a ritual that they had done, carving all that into his body, and chained him and left him in that cavern where all that was off. It was where he had been left.
It was the man who did this ritual?
It was the man. It was the one-eyed man. And then following, there was... I had a sense that after this had happened, that this red-haired woman and her companion were following in the steps of the one who performed the ritual. I had a
So
sense
it's-
that they were
Fall-
trying.
So it's
Oh,
like
sorry.
when Casey does something and then Esmond comes along behind and finds it and then he ends up getting the blame.
Potentially, yes. I mean, wrong place, wrong time, but also deeply suspicious.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense either, though. Because if they were trying to fix whatever he did, we just did that, and we haven't seen any evidence of
Well,
that.
they might just be trying to stop him.
Or maybe they made something else wrong in trying to fix it.
Oh,
Or maybe Araya, the thing that you did, it's a secret of your temple, right? Maybe they just don't know that ritual and couldn't do it.
Or there are too many unknown factors for us to worry about with this particular aspect of the search for the necromancer. The point being is that we can't rely on discovering any other allies, necromancer or hunting the necromancer. Otherwise, we can't rely on stumbling across anyone else to help us with this issue that we're dealing with in the city. We have to. They're either long gone hunting for the necromancer, if that's what they're doing. They've moved on because they are the necromancer, or they have been killed at some point. Either way, they're not going to be any help to us with our current predicament, I don't think.
Agreed. In which case, agreed. It seems like there is someone around setting fires, as it were, and our main prerogative here is to put out the fire at the end of this particular trail. So then that just leaves us with our approach to taking down the big ruined person on our own.
So we're all in agreement then? We stay in town, search for Sal if we can, and we stop the fabricator.
Okay.
I think we can solve this far more potentially than the sky.
We'll save that for a different day.
Oh, that'll be tomorrow's impossible task.
Okay, well, I don't want to continue this conversation necessarily because we already have so much on our plate, but regarding the tear in the sky converging over the spire and the potential of time dilation or convergence, whatever you want to call it. Do you all recall that Vithedrian not too long ago told us about a tower that was raided? It's going to be north of Muirwood now, but a tower that was raided several years ago. Somebody called the Chronomancer lived there. If their name is any indication, as on the nose as it may be, they could potentially have notes on sorting that out. I don't want to push us in that direction. I want us all to focus on...
Do we need to discuss this right now, then?
No, we don't. It's just something that I want to
Is that
mention.
south?
That's north.
Yeah, that's going to be
that
north
tower
of Muirwood.
that you pointed out on the map, I think, right?
Ooh, wait. Let's make sure there's a distinction here.
Tower, Esmond's tower is south of Muirwood.
Esmond's tower is east of Muirwood, essentially.
Excuse me. Forget I said north. I said east. Excuse me.
All right.
Yeah. There's two different towers. That's important.
There's two different towers. There's the tower there's the towers that was raided, and then there's the spire. I
was going to say the spire too. We have to slay it.
Yeah. So, the white tower is the tower in the north. There's just like a stone tower kind of in the east. It's very small. It's just a normal tower.
There's two towers.
Wait, so the cracks in the space-time continuum are all converging on the massive obelisk that is changing the rotation of our planet?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. That's really important context.
Yeah, which is why I
That's
think
very different than a place that we can just walk to and like check it out.
Right.
which is why I think we should handle the zombie horde first. It seems a little bit more feasible.
Yeah, it was just something I was throwing out there, not to do now, not to worry about now, but just as reference for whatever task we are looking to complete after we can stop the fabricator.
So one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why don't we get that slimy one in the basement first?
I don't want to go back down there, thank you.
Well, but we maybe could set the house on fire and then it's on fire in the basement.
We can't set fires to every house that we see, Aurea. I'm
Also, if we
sorry.
set fire to it, it kind of seemed like it just made it harder. Or
Yeah, elemental damage honestly just does not work against it, so no, to fire as well.
we might just
actually.
make it stronger
Destabilize and
if we set
collapse.
fire to it.
Okay,
Okay, but in the meantime, we all do agree that we want to clean up the streets of Merwood, and then our plan after we are done with those goals can be discussed further, assuming that Salinger doesn't magically reappear and that nothing else cataclysmic happens.
Mm-hmm.
Precisely.
Maybe you guys just aren't using the right fire.
Nope, just no fire against that thing. We're just not going back to that basement. We don't need to, no.
All right, let's get some rest because we've got a whole town to cover tomorrow and a big.
Great, who wants weapons? And Esmond takes his satchel and just pours out into the middle of the floor. Vithedrian's rifle, a pistol, his plate armor, and his greatsword.
Beth suddenly wakes up. She's like, "What? Are you fighting? Fighting? What's going on?"
No, I have a gift for you, probably. Do you want this armor or this sword, Kibeth?
Beth looks very closely at it. She has been wearing the other. I forgot that she's been wearing the armor that she made, but I forgot that I also received armor in that loot haul. So, can she have been given it to like Peach to hold on to because I don't know, or what? Did you have all of the armor loot?
What?
I had. No, I did not have all the armor loot. I just had all that stuff that I just described, as well as 250 pounds of dead forged steel.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think it will have mattered. All the items, you guys are all together, and there's no current threat, so you guys can
Okay.
just...
Because canonically, I could not have carried that additional armor around at all.
Hang on. We need to like hover over so that we can check the stats and compare it.
I have to look and see. What do you have?
You just like throw all that stuff in the chat, like the descriptions of it.
accidentally disenchant it, turn it to dust.
Yeah, at the we can discuss in detail later, but Esmond is offering up Vithedrian's plate armor, his greatsword, and his pistol up to the group to decide what they want to do with. I can describe in the chat what they do later, but Esmond is holding onto the rifle and he's giving that to Peach.
Lottie is somewhat interested in the greatsword, but we'll hold off on actually discussing those details because we can do that out of chat or out of game.
Sorry, I heard somebody say Peach. I was AFK for a minute.
Yeah, you see Esmond pour out a bunch of weapons and materials onto the ground, a big suit of armor, a great sword, some guns, and he goes and picks up specifically the scoped rifle from that pile, and he walks it over to you and says, you cannot keep using that sling, so we're going to give you this. And he holds out the scoped rifle to you.
This is the verdict, so I don't know how to use this thing.
Yeah, we'll have lessons. We can figure it out later, but you can't keep using that sling.
Well, this certainly is going to have more kick to it than a stone does, I'll tell you that.
It's like a real son of a bitch, but you'll get accustomed to it eventually.
Yeah. Thank you. I'll make good use of her.
We'll have lessons later. We'll get you sorted out.
Sounds good. I'm a crack shot.
Now, unless anyone else has anything that they want to give to me, I'm probably going to stay up all night and see if I can learn all these scrolls that have been handed to me over the past couple of days. So I'll just see everyone in the morning, I guess. And Esmond will head upstairs and he's going to begin scribing spell scrolls. Oh, and DM, if you want to shoot me a message about what the scrolls that we found, or that Shalati found in the library were, I would appreciate that.
Did Shalati give the scrolls or just the journal?
Both. She just handed over the knapsack.
Cool. I will send those over.
Casey raises a finger and then runs after Esmond. Moments after Esmond sits down, the door slams open. Casey runs in, slams down a scroll next to him, says, I don't think I'll need this, and then runs out. It is the knock spell scroll.
Yep. Okay. All right. Good talk. Okay. Yeah.
Charlotte would probably, like, during the preparations for evening, would probably quietly sidle over to Peach and be like, "Do you think you can hold these?" And hands over the cleaver from the ruins under Shepherd's End and her regular old buckler that she had used for a while.
Yeah, just shoot me those weights.
Yep, exactly.
Peach just kind of shoved them in her bag. Does anybody else need anything carried?
Beth says she's kind of like looking at the armor she has on. She's looking at the armor in her hands, and she's looking at the other arm. And she's like, "Whatever one I don't put on, yes, please."
You know, this bag is something else. I'll put all that armor in my bag, and then you can carry me. How
I mean,
efficient.
I can carry you anyways.
Get out of room.
I mean, I'll pick anybody up who needs to be carried safely out of battle.
It's true, you've carried Ava a number of times.
It seems like a group activity, just you guys a lot like picking me up.
Gee.
Because you're small and pick upable.
You're also
true.
the only one who could, heal the rest of us. You get busted up too bad, you're dead for real.
Yeah, we need to keep you.
I mean, in theory, I could run you in. I could pick you up and carry you between each person. You could heal them.
And the only person Kaveth has dropped so far is Esmond. So this is you weren't there, but you
never.
You
that.
Oh,
gently
look.
said
Another
it.
set of memories.
Quick question, Esmond. For tonight, are you spending the time with the journals or doing the spell scrolls? Those will both take time.
Oh, man. God, if we were taking another day to... shit!
You could have Kabeth read the journal, and you could do the scrolls.
If Kabeth reads it out loud, then it would be like reading and listening to a podcast at the same time.
Kibeth also fell asleep when we were researching earlier.
How can she fall asleep if she's actively reading?
She got a nap through that she slept through that entire conversation you guys had. She has no idea what the plan is. And that's great for me.
Fuck. Okay. Even, journal, odd, spell scrolls.
What?
The best part of that natural one intelligence save
Spell
was that
scrolls!
I had already decided Kabeth was sleeping during that conversation, and I was like, let me roll an intelligence just to see what I would roll. And then at that one, I was like, she continues to sleep.
DM, is reading that stuff considered... Do you get a long rest by reading those things, or no?
You can do it during your long rest, yeah, as long as you still get enough sleep.
Sure. I'll read a journal. Esmond can't.
I will absolutely split up my duties if Ava's offering to take some of that over. Yeah, I will sacrifice that for the spell scrolls.
Yeah.
Mm.
They look so cute when they put their heads together and study.
Yeah, I can't say that I'll understand all of it, but, you know, enough, probably, to get a general idea.
I need to clarify, Esmond is not cute when he's studying. He is a mess with grease marks and
You
like
literally
pin
just took a
marks all over
shower.
himself.
That's adorable, though, okay?
He gets sturdier when
You
he
realize
reads.
the folks in this group are people who play D&D. We don't find grease marks and things unattractive.
He's just like a little pig pen when he studies, just a little cloud of dirt, kind of.
Charlotte looks over at Peach at that, and then looks at Esmond, between Esmond and Ava speculatively.
Okay, so Ava and Esmond are reading books. What's everyone else doing, if anything?
And this is sort of like low key activity in between the sort of like rest time.
Yeah. You don't have to be asleep for your entire rest. You just have to not be fighting and casting spells and stuff.
Okay. Then, well, I guess would it? My thought was to have Cyphered kind of like peek into and pilfer a couple of other nearby buildings to gather resources for our next like extended haul of what we're doing. Nothing heavy, just sort of like looking around for supplies kind of thing. Does that fall under that?
Yeah, no, you could definitely do that. If you run into trouble, it might disrupt your rest, but if you don't, you'll probably be fine.
Peach is also outside of the building. She's just in and out, but mostly kind of, again, still scanning for Sal. She's not calling out to him in any kind of way, but just continuing to look within the 1 block radius. She's not going far from the tavern.
I love how Chris is like, well, if you run into trouble, then your rest will be disrupted. Like he isn't the one who gets to decide if that happens or not.
Sometimes the dice
Basically,
make
he's
that
flipping a
happen.
dice, like, which one will happen?
I really believe Chris is rolling dice, though, and some of those outcomes are not terrible.
Cyphered is absolutely willing to take that
Right.
risk.
Araya feels that her bags are slightly heavier, so she begins to go through them. Her face furrowing in a very confused look. She pulls out just a potion? I don't even... But at the bottom of the pouch that she's pulling things out of, she finds a small finger bone. And a shudder runs through her because she lived this man's final moments. But then she pauses and folds her hands around the small bone and prays for his soul to rest. Creepiest things are in this bag, y'all.
What's Case doing?
Good question. He's probably chilling on the roof of this inn, kind of looking up at the torn sky and listening to the noises of the undead city. And he's just there, making a little ball of fire and extinguishing it. And he's like, Yeah, I think that's all he's doing. He's just...
Casey, as you're up there on the rooftop, beneath the shattered sky, veined with hints of green and teal, magenta. Just for an instant, you see a pop and a flash like a firework from the western side of town.
Well, that's certainly interesting. And he kind of grins to himself, and then grins to his shadow.
Cypher, roll a d6. Is it a 6? As you search through the buildings, you find what looks like a good length of silk rope, 50 feet. Still in good shape, bundled nicely. As you're beginning to stow it, roll a perception check. You notice something strange about the doorway just beyond this room that you're in. The slightest glimmer, like a hint of moonlight on the surface of water.
Say that for me again.
You see this, there's like a slight glimmer in the doorway, like dim moonlight on the surface of still water.
Cypher will investigate it.
You move just a little bit closer, hearing something strange about it. There's a slight haziness, like whatever's behind it through the doorway is blurry.
She reaches out a hand and touches it.
As you reach out to touch it, please roll for me a strength saving throw.
Oh, those Fey instincts. Come on, man.
As you reach out and touch it, at first it's cold, but then immediately it burns, and as you try to pull your hand back, the Deathbrood Alchemist reaches out, limbs begin to wrap around you and pull you forward. You have just enough time, perhaps, to scream, and that's where we'll end for tonight.
Don't scream. We need a long rest.
That's what I get for not playing.
I'm betting that Cypher just slipped off without telling anyone.
Yeah. Well, just 8 hours, just a few more hours. We'll come to get you, I promise.
Oh man, and then we'll just stop forgetting Cypher too. It'll just turn out that there's no spell. We're just shitty friends.
Oh my god.
At least she didn't need her rest.
You're full strength.
Yeah,
Take a
'cause I'd
long rest
immediately go
inside the
back to
alchemist.
sleep.
I don't know why we can't just rest. We always have to investigate stuff. We're always like, let's just do a little
Never-
more. Just a
Never
little more.
investigate during a rest.
Never investigate.
It never ever works out.
She's
Curiosity killed the bunny in this case, but
at least she's close by.
Alternatively, all of us going to sleep while under this
Oh,
spell.
true.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure we would have set up a watch too. It's just
Alright.
if
Good
they
night,
really take you.
folks. I gotta go.
See you, Kate.
Good
See you
night.
next week. Bye.
I hope that she can punch the jelly and like it really fucks it up. Like just one of those monk abilities. Like everything else we throw at it seems to like have some sort of resistance to, but she just slaps it with like an open palm or something, and it.
And just the quivering palm,
Yeah.
like, except it's just really quivering everything.
She'll do the death touch, and it'll die in 10 to 20 years, so super effective.
I mean, also she's Fae, so I'm sure she has some form of teleportation / Misty Step. Oh, it's probably fine.
Can you Misty Step out of a gelatinous cube?
Okay.
Freaking.
What
Wait,
were
no.
what were the mechanics for the people who were stuck inside of the previous ones? Can I know that for ruminating purposes?
None of them actually really. I don't think any of them actually got a turn to attempt anything. I think it got resolved before their turns even came around.
That's right, because they were all pulled out, right? If Cypher actually pulled them out, ironically.
No. Were they? Yeah, Cypher helped pull Esmond's body out of one, right?
Oh, they were both unconscious while they were in it,
Mm.
weren't they?
Salinger was not.
Yeah,
At
I was
least
super
the bonus
unconscious.
is you were the one pulling them from it, so at least you're like, oh, this.
Oh wait,
What are the
Misty-
chances?
Misty Step has a verbal component, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would probably be impossible to do unless you have a subtle spell inside of a gelatinous cube. I think.
Well, a thing that I do with underwater things is you have enough breath in your lungs for one word.
And then immediately suffocation.
It does cut your breath hold time if you do that.
Does it cut it completely, or does it basically just like have it? Or
I'll get the exact numbers on it, but it's enough breath. You have enough breath to do one verbal component. So, like, say for example, your group decides to take a teleportation circle to the bottom of the ocean. This would never happen.
No,
but
never happen.
Yeah, that would
Says
never be
you.
so. That would be so dumb. Who would do that?
What would you even do at that point? Swim to the surface? Absurd.
yeah, an entire group of people would never do that all at once.
not collectively. Yeah, so in the case something like that happens, you do have enough breath in your lung for one verbal component.
And then, if there was an entire group of people and someone did have a spell that would allow you to breathe underwater, that person would be the decider and realize that it doesn't work except a handful of people, and there are more of you than the spell actually affects, and they'd have to make choices. Yeah, and some of them would die and come back as a demon in an airship.
Well, I guess if Cypher dies, she'll get to find out if her stalwart theory that they're just in a Fae dream is real.
Oh my lord. I think we're in an alchemist haze of horror.
Someone in another reality just suddenly gets a new memory of, oh yeah, Cypher just like disappeared, but she's right here also.